So last week was amazing for me.
It was pretty fun for everybody.
It sounded like it was
you
amazing.
You got the cake for that week. I didn't know we were having a contest, but you won.
Did I? It wasn't one I wanted to win, by the way.
So walk us through what happened.
Well, the last time we were on, or at least we were recording,
Kassie was lying on the floor.
Yes, I was. I was in severe back pain, and I had been for a while. So last Friday, I went to the doctor because I had enough of this shit. I went to a walk-in clinic and talked to the doctor there. The only thing she really zeroed in on was that my blood pressure was high, and she gave me some muscle relaxers for my back and told me, no, it wasn't your gallbladder. And I'm like, okay, I believe you, you're a doctor. So I went to work Saturday. I should not have went to work Saturday. I should have immediately proceeded from stupid fuck at walk-in clinic to hospital. But I listened to stupid fuck and went home and then to work instead. And I stayed at work as long as I possibly could, hating everyone and everything who came into the store, no matter how pleasant they were, because I was miserable. I could not do anything. I hurt in my upper abdomen so bad. My back was hurting so bad, and I felt so bad. And finally I said, screw this. I called my brother, and I went to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
The ER doctor comes in, and he's like, okay, it does sound like it's probably your gallbladder, but we're going to do an ultrasound and have a look at it. And he's like, and if I can't determine anything from the ultrasound, I'm going to put you in a CT scan. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. As long as we figure out what's wrong. And so they did the ultrasound, and they couldn't really determine anything other than I had stones in my gallbladder. So they're like, okay, now you're going to go for the CT scan. And I'm like, okay. So I did that. And about an hour after that, he came in, he's like, okay, we know for sure now it is your gallbladder. That sucker looks ugly. It's going to have to come out as soon as possible. I already got you a surgeon. It's going to be Dr. Treckle, which everybody in the room was happy about because we've had Dr. Treckle for stuff before. She's an awesome doctor. And
That's
he's
with
like,
a T, not a J.
Yeah, Treckle. And he's like, so we're going to admit you. And I'm like, well, good. If I gotta be admitted, this is how I came to the right place. So that was Saturday night last week. And then basically I couldn't have anything to eat or drink because pretty much the first thing that was going to happen was surgery. So they put me with a pain pump. I don't know what kind of drugs it had in it. I didn't ask. I just used it when necessary.
Mm-hmm. Pain pump sounds like it could be a good torture device.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like that's going to relieve anything, but basically, I don't know. It's probably morphine. She's like, have you ever used one of these before? And I'm like, no, ma'am. And she's like, well, basically what happens, every 5 minutes, this button's going to light up, and if you feel in pain and you press it, it'll administer a dose of medicine to help the pain go away. But it's every 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And that was pretty much the only way I could sleep is after I pressed that button. Because otherwise I was in so much pain I could not rest.
You were spamming that shit.
Well, I wasn't spamming it. Like, when I woke up, if it was lit, I'd press it because that's how bad I felt.
Right.
So, in the morning came. They told me that at 10 in the morning I was going to go to have my surgery. And I'm like, okay, great. It's first thing in the morning. I'll get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
Then 10 came. And then 10:30. And then 11. And by the time...
Yeah, it never really goes to plan.
Yeah, never. And I'm like, well, if they're not coming to get me, I'm going to just lay back down in the bed and be in pain because no matter what I do, I'm in pain. So I might as well lay down and attempt to sleep. Finally, maybe around almost noon, Dr. Treckle finally came to see me. And, cause the original plan was they were going to wheel me down to the operating room, and then she talked to me about my surgery there, since I pretty much had to be rushed in to get it done. But, stuff just didn't go to plan. And, she explained, what she'd be doing, and, asked me about my medical history, like anything we need to know, all that stuff. And she's like, the reason why you have yet to have your surgery is because the air went out in the operating room. And we can't do anything unless we want to boil alive until we get the air fixed in the operating room. She's like, but as soon as we get that fixed, she's like, you are the first person to be operated on. And I'm like, well, thank the Lord, at least that's one thing went right.
Yeah. You'll be able to breathe at least.
Yeah. Around 1, they came and got me and took me down. And I remember it was about 1:33 when they wheeled me actually into the operating room and put me on the operating table. And I remember the guy putting like the oxygen mask on me and them strapping my arms down. And then I guess soon after that I went to sleep.
Yeah, it happens fairly quickly.
Basically, what should have been a 20-minute procedure turned almost into 2 hours.
But luckily you weren't awake for it.
Yeah, because apparently my gallbladder had become gangrenous, and it was trying very hard to poison my blood, to turn my blood septic. And so they were trying to get it out while at the same time not letting me, like, have toxins in my blood. So it took them a while to get that out.
Right.
And so it was about 5, I think. Almost 5 by the time they got me back to my room when I started waking up. Normally, that is an outpatient procedure. But considering how bad it was and the extra time they had to spend on the operation, Treacle had ordered me to stay overnight. So I didn't get out until afternoon Labor Day. And then I basically went home and inhaled some of my good medicine and laid down to the best of my ability, which has been a pain in the ass all week because my right side hates moving, and try to just be, get some rest and recuperate.
Right. Probably should explain to Sully, who asked the air going out in the surgery room. I think it's like the air filter to keep it clean, right?
No, it was to keep it cool.
Oh, to keep it cool. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it stayed that way, because when I woke up the first time, I was burning the fuck up. I was so sweaty. And even when I finally got to my room, I'm just like, please take this blanket off of me. I'm dying. And I could barely talk because it was like I had a sore throat from, where they put that tube down to make sure you get air and stuff into your lungs. Oh my god, I felt better, but I still hurt and everything from the operation. And so getting in and out of bed has pretty much been the hardest part of all this. No, the good medicine's called oxycodone. Anyway.
Okay.
Somebody was asking. They're like, did they give you pot? And I'm like, no, they gave me something stronger than pot.
Oh, that stuff is
Yeah.
amazing. I got that when they hospitalized me too.
But the nurse told me after I came back from my operation, because they kept asking me about pain. They're like, are you in any pain at all? They're like, the doctor wrote you, that we could give you a bag of pain meds if you needed it. I'm like, no, I'm okay. It's just like, when I, try to move around or something, I'm sore from where I'm operated on, but it's not like I'm in constant pain.
Yeah.
And whenever one of the nurses came in later that night, she tried to give me 2 pills of something. I think it was mild pain reliever, just basic stuff, but I couldn't take that. I threw up both times they tried to give that to me, with in minutes of them administering it. She's like, it's a bag of morphine if you need it. And I'm like, I don't think I hurt that bad. I can't comfortably lay on my sides, just my back, but I think I'm alright. I don't need morphine.
Well, I do like to sort of remind people that to be very careful with the pain drugs.
Yes.
Not because they're incredibly addictive, which they are, but because the price you can get for one of those little pills on the black market is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you can offshoot a lot of your hospital bill right there.
Oh, such good advice.
But basically, I think my problem is I just didn't, to me, in my personal opinion, I didn't have enough symptoms. And also, it's not like I am a doctor, so I don't like to diagnose myself.
It's usually not sick.
Yeah, but I didn't really know what was wrong. I just knew that, like, at 9 o'clock after the solar eclipse, my back hated my guts, just this piercing pain in my my upper right shoulder blade. And it just hurt so bad, like somebody's literally stabbing you with like an ice pick or something. Constantly. I could not sleep. I could not rest. And it came with not quite nausea, but it's just like this strange feeling where I'm like, like maybe pre-nausea or something like that. But I was just miserable after the solar eclipse, and then finally I went to work, and I was miserable at work, and I thought when I went to work Thursday I was good, but then I woke up Friday, I'm like, oh my god. And I tried to be off that weekend because that Saturday I was like, I'm going to go to the doctor first thing because this is stupid, considering how much pain I am in. But she called me in anyway because there was nobody else to work till closing. And I'm like, are you shitting me? I've got to go. And I'm like, well, so I bypassed the doctor and went in to work instead when I really shouldn't have. So happened, I think about somewhere in there, a nurse came in. Because sometimes we'll have nurse come in and they'll be looking for scrubs for work. And I was telling her about it. And she's like, just from the little bit of description I gave her, she's like, sounds like your gallbladder. And I'm like, I wouldn't know anything about my gallbladder. She's like, well, that's usually what you're saying sounds like you're having an issue with your gallbladder. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I remember when Katie had problems with her gallbladder. It was a little scary for a while, but the procedure is common enough that not a lot of risk involved in it.
And so, I considered what she said, but I didn't really, because I don't know, I'm not a doctor. And so I told my brother, and he's like, well, have you been having so-and-so also wrong? And I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, well, it might be. And so that night I looked up like the symptoms of gallbladder, but I didn't really meet them, one of them is like constipation and vomiting. And I'm like, well, I'm not vomiting and I don't have constipation. I'm having the other problem. And so I'm like, I'm not sore in my abdomen or anything. I just feel weird there. So to me it didn't really match up, and usually just kind of trying to relax and take care of myself typically does the trick for most things. But not this, because as the time went on, everything just kept getting worse, and I've had new symptoms and new problems, and But I got it taken care of, and I'm okay.
You're feeling a lot better now, though.
Yes, I am.
Oh, good.
Give me 1 second. I think that's Wild Big Bro.
Oh, okay. Wild Big Bro.